Hello friends, how are you all? Welcome to Coding Sahai. I am Reshma. So in the previous videos, we discussed the first part of flow of control, that is if conditions and the programs using if condition. So the next part of flow of control is iterative construct. So in this video, we are going to discuss that topic. So the portions to be covered in this video are the iterative constructs, for loop, while loop, then for else, while else, then the jump statements, break and continue, then the nested loops. So let's begin. So before we start, if you are new to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel and share the videos. So let's begin. So repetition or looping. So in the last videos, we were discussing if condition. So in the if condition, if there is a condition satisfying, then the set of statements under that will be executed. Otherwise, the else or the elif part will be executed. So how many times that if is working? See, if the condition is satisfying, then if executes for one time. Suppose you have a condition to do multiple times. For example, if you have multiplication table like 1 2s are 2, then 2 2s are 4, then 3 2s are 6. So until 10 2s are 20. So you want to write this one as a Python program. So here you are doing multiplication. So see, if it is for 10 times, okay, you can print 1 into 2 equal to 2, like that we can print, but it is time consuming and it is not efficient. So we have in Python another option to do all these type of repetitive tasks. What is the repetition we are doing in multiplication? It is this multiplication process. And if you are writing the multiplication table of 2, then 2 is constant, it is not changing. But the first value like 1, 2, 3, these values are every time it is changing. That is, every time it is increasing by 1. The same type of operation we are repeating from value 1 to 10. Right. So to do these kind of operations, we have looping constructs. So repetition of a set of statements in a program is made possible using looping constructs in Python. So in Python, we have two types of looping constructs, that is for loop and while loop. So here we can say for is a counting loop and while is a conditional loop. Let's study for loop and while loop in detail. So our first type of loop is for loop. So its syntax. How can we write for loop in Python? So the syntax of for loop. We have to give the keyword for in small letter, then a variable. Then we have another keyword, that is in, or the operator in we studied already. Then we have a sequence of items in range, then colon, then the set of statements. So let's see an example. For I in range of 1 to 6. That means here 4 is the keyword used for repetition, or we can say it is iterative construct. Then we have I here. This is just a variable. So instead of I, you can give A, X, P, anything can be given there. Okay, then we have IN. IN is membership operator. For I in, that means I is member of or I is in, where range of 1 to 6. So this is one method of using for loop. So range 1 of 6, that is range is a function which is giving how many times that loop should work. Okay, so here the loop is controlled by the variable I. Based on the value of I, this loop will be executed. So here in range, it is given 1, 6. That means the range, this is the starting value. This is the starting value and this is the end value. The range function works from start to end minus 1. So here what is the value of start? It is 1 and end minus 1, that is 5. So the loop should be executed from 1 to 5. So the loop will execute until I gets the value 5. So whenever i's value is 6, that time it will come out of the loop. Okay, so remember every time this range function ends with end minus 1. So if you have total n values, then the loop executes till n minus 1. Okay, so that is top. Here how the loop is going to work. Let's see. So here for I in range of 1 to 6. That means the first value of I is 1, which is less than 6. So it comes to this line here, like our if condition, there is a colon at the end and it goes to the next line, that is indentation is there. Then the set of statements under this one will be executed. So here you have to remember one thing, the I should be between 1 and 6. So whenever the value of I is greater than or equal to 6, then it will come out of the loop. So first it is when I equal to 1, it goes inside this loop and it prints the value of I. What is the value of I? It is 1. So 1 will be printed. After that, it is not going to the next line. Here we have only one line after this for loop. So here again it goes here and the value of I will be changed to 2. Now it is checking whether 2 in range of 1, 6. Is it satisfying? Yes, it is between 1 and 6. So it prints 2. So 1 printed, then 2 printed. It is not going to the next line. It goes back. Then the value of I will be 3. Then checking 3 in a range of 1, 6. Is it satisfying? Yes. Then it prints 3. So 1, 2, 3 printed. Again it goes back. I gets the value 4. Then 4 in range of 1 to 6. Yes, it is satisfying. So it prints 4. Then again going back. I equal to 5, 5 in range of 1 to 6 and printing 5. After that it goes back and I gets the value 6 and it is checking whether 6 in range of 1 to 6. See, I already told you the range function works from start to stop minus 1. Here the stop is 6. That means stop minus 1, it is 5. Whether 6 is in range of 1 and 5? No. So it is not satisfying. So that time it will come out of the loop. This print statement will not be executed. If any line is there after this for loop, that will be executed. So this is the working of a for loop. So actually this program is to print the natural numbers between 1 and 6. So this is the first way of writing for loop. So the next way of using for loop is for A in, then we have a set of values like this. This is actually list. We will study list, then the strings, dictionary, tuple, everything in the later sessions. So here this is list. List means list of values. So here we have a list of values 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So here A gets these values. A is traversing these values 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. When first time this for loop executes, that time A gets the value 2. Then it prints that. First it gets the value 2, then that 2 will be printed. Again it comes back and A gets the value next one 4. So that 4 will be printed. Then going back, then A gets the value 6. That 6 will be printed. Then again going back, A gets the value 8. That 8 will be printed. Then here A gets the value 10. Okay, so that will be printed. Again it goes back and whether A has any other value. After 10 we don't have any value. The list is over there. So it will come out of the loop. Okay, so this is the two ways we are executing for loop. One is from a range of values and in the second way it is actually membership. That is, pick the values from a list of values or a group of values and use it for the operation. So these are two options to do for loop. See, when we executed the loops, we know every time I gets the value. In the first case, I gets the value 1, then 2, 3. So every time it is executing here, then printing here, going back, then printing. Each time it is repeating. So that each repetition is known as iteration. When I gets the value 1, then it prints that I. So that is our first iteration. So each step in a loop is our iteration. So this is our for loop. Now we have range function. So range is a built-in function in Python. So the syntax of range is range, start, stop and step. Here start means where we have to start. That is our loop starts from which number. So that is our start, and here start and step are optional. but stop is compulsory. That is, here it starts from a starting value, then stop means where you are going to stop it. That means stop minus 1. So if it is up to 10 means it is going to execute till 9. Okay. Then we have a step value, that is incrementing by or decrementing by. That is, if you are going to print 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this, then the difference between 1 and 2 is 1. Okay, so no problem if you are not giving step also, no problem. So here 1 and 2, so the difference is 1. So by default, the stop value is 1. Other than that, suppose if you want to print even numbers, then we have 2, 4, 6, 8. So the difference between these two values are 2, isn't it? So that time you have to give step. That means the start value is 2 and the next value is 4. That is, 2 is the starting value. Then the second value. After 2, what is the second value? After 2, the first value is 3. The second value is 4. Then after 4, the second value, not 5, it is 6. That means it is incrementing by 2. Okay, so that is our step value. So if it is required, then you have to give it. Okay, so for example, here you can see range 0, 11, 2. That means here start is 0, then stop is 11 it is given. That means 11 minus 1. So the loop is going to execute from 0 to 10. Then we have the step value 2. That means here the values are 0, 2. It is not 1 because it is incrementing by 2. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is the complete range function. We have start value, stop value and the step value. We have another example, range of 1, 8. So can you give the answer? See here 1, 8 means it is giving the start value and the stop value. There is no step value. So what is the default step value? It is 1. So here it is printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is 8 minus 1. Start value is this one and this is stop minus 1. Then we have another one, that is range of 5. So here if there is only one value, then that must be stop value. Here the range works from 0 to 5. That means 0 to 5 minus 1. So the values will be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Range of 5 means total 5 values are there because it starts from 0. If you are not giving the start value, then the default start value is 0 and the default step value is 1. Okay, but every time you should give the stop value. Okay, so that is our range of function. So let's see the next topic. So let's see an example in Python editor to check, write a program to print the natural numbers from 1 to 10. So here it is mentioned 1 to 10. So here our start value is 1. And what about this end value or the stop value? Stop value, it is stop minus 1. So we need to print till 10. 10 also we need to print. So we can give the stop value as 11. So here step value is required? No, because the difference between the numbers is 1. So there is no need of giving the step value. If you are giving also, no problem. So let's do this one in the editor. So we can give the command program to print the natural numbers. So here I am going to print the natural numbers between 1 and 10. For I in range of 1, 11, then give a colon, then print, because I has the value 1, 2, 3 and all. So let's see the output. So save it, then run the program. See, you can see the output here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 10. It is printing properly here. Okay, so let's see the next topic. So our next construct is while loop. So the while statement executes a block of code repeatedly as long as the condition of the loop is true. See, for loop is a counting loop and while loop is a conditional loop. That means, the if condition, it works based on the condition, right? So same way here, for while also we are checking a condition, and if the condition is true, then only the set of statements under while constraint will be executed. So this is the syntax of while loop. The while checks for the condition, and if it is satisfying, then the set of statements under this loop will be executed. Is it for one time? No. Until the condition is true. Whenever it is false, that time it will come out of the loop. Let's see an example. See here, I have given a equal to 10. So the initial value of a is 10. Then while a less than or equal to 20. That means 10 less than or equal to 20. That is the condition we are checking here. Okay, is it satisfying? Yes, it is satisfying. So if it is satisfying, there are two statements under while that should be executed. That is print a. The value of a should be printed. What is the value of a? See, the initial value of a is 10. Then it is checking whether 10 less than or equal to 20. Is it satisfying? Yes, it is true. So it prints the value of a. That means it prints 10. Then we have another statement, that is our update statement. That is, the loop should be executed for 5 times or 10 times or until the condition is true. So to repeat that, we need an update statement. Sometimes it is incrementation or sometimes decrementation, sometimes it is division. It is based on the program. So here it is incrementing, that is a equal to a plus 1. So the value of a is incrementing by 1. So here a gets the value, the initial value is 10 plus 1, we will get 11. Okay, then after that it goes again here. Okay, so there it is checking whether 11 less than or equal to 20. That means it is not going to this part again because we already entered in the loop. So the processes or the iteration is always in this way. So here 11 less than or equal to 20, it is satisfying. So it prints that value. What is the value of a? That is 11. Then a equal to a plus 1. That means the value of a is incrementing. That is a equal to this 11 plus 1. So you will get 12. Again going back and checking whether 12 less than or equal to 20. Is it satisfying? Yes, it is satisfying. So printing 12, then incrementing a by 1, that is 13. So it checks when a gets 19, it is checking whether 9 less than or equal to 20. It is satisfying. After that 19 will be printed. Then it is incrementing, that is a equal to now 19 plus 1, so you will get 20. Okay, so again it goes back and here it is checking 20 less than or equal to 20. Is it satisfying? Yes, because this equal to part is working there. So it prints the value of a. Then it is incrementing a equal to 20 plus 1. You will get 21, isn't it? Again it is checking 21 less than or equal to 20. Is it satisfying? No, it's not satisfying. It is false. So that time it will come out of the loop. This is the working of our while loop. So can you tell me what is the last value of a after executing this loop or coming out of the loop? What is the value of a? So the last value of a, whatever it acquired, that is, it is 21. That is a equal to 21. After this while loop, if you print this a, it prints 21. So that is while loop, and let's see an example. So here I am going to print some natural numbers from 1 to 20. Here I am giving the command program to print the natural numbers. Here I am initializing I equal to 1. Initialization is important. Then we are giving while I less than or equal to 20. Here I am going to print the value of I. So what is the value of I? First value of I is 1. So that will be printed. After that, when the loop continues, that time the value of I will be changed. So here I am giving I equal to I plus 1. So let's save the program and check whether this is working properly or not. Okay, you can see the output from 1 to 20. 1 to 20 it is printing vertically. So that's our for loop and while loop. So our next topic is jump statements in Python. So the jumping statements are control statements that move program execution from one location to another. Jumping statements in Python are break and continue. So the break statement enables a program to skip over a part of the code. Whenever the break statement is executed, then it terminates the loop, executes the set of statements after the loop. That is, in for loop and while loop, you have written some set of statements under that while and for. So here the loop is executing for like 20 times or 100 times or sometimes 1000, or maybe it is lakhs of times it is going to execute, right? If it starts from one point until it reaches the end point, till that loop will be executed. You cannot come out of that. Okay, so in some cases we need to come out of the loop before reaching the end in case of for loop, and in case of while loop if the test condition is false. In between, if we need to come out of the loop, then we can use break with a condition. So that is break. So whenever that break encounters, then suddenly it stops the loop and comes out of the loop. Okay, so that is a break statement. Then we have another statement, continue. So when a continue statement is encountered, the control skips the execution remaining statements inside the body of the loop for the current iteration and jumps to the beginning of the loop for the next iteration. So this break and continue, let's check with an example. So here I have written two programs to show the difference between break and continue. Okay, here I have given import math. So here I am going to use some mathematical functions. So to use that mathematical functions, we need to import the library math. So inside our math, we have some mathematical functions like square root, then power. So in this program, I'm going to use one of the mathematical functions. That's why I'm using this import math. Okay. So next line I have written for I in range of 10. That means the value of I is between 0 and 9. That is 0 to 10. So 0 to 9 it will be executed. Then I have given num equal to int input enter a number. That is inside our loop I am going to enter the numbers. Here I is between 0 to 9, that is including 0 and 9. Okay, the first statement num equal to int input enter a number, that is inside our loop I am going to enter values, that is total 10 values I am going to enter using a loop. So then we have if num less than 0, print you entered a negative value. For example, here I starts from 0. So that time it's coming inside our loop and first statement is num int input enter a number. So I entered the number first one as 25. Then it is checking if number less than 0, that is 25 less than 0. Is it satisfying? No, it is not satisfying. So it goes to this else part and it is printing print map.sqrt of num. What is the value of num? It is 25. So map.sqrt, so it is finding out the square root of that value. That is, what is the square root of 25? It is 5, right? So it prints that 5. Then it goes back to this line again. Okay, then the value of I will be 1. Then it goes to this line num equal to input enter a number. That means you are going to enter another number, like I am entering 36. So checking whether 36 less than 0. 36 less than 0 is not satisfying and directly goes to else part and print mat.sqrt of num. That is square root of 36. It prints 6. Now I equal to 2 and again num equal to int input enter a number. So I am entering a value as minus 16. So it checks minus 16 less than 0. Is it satisfying? Yes, it is satisfying. So it executes the first line print you entered a negative value. So that you entered a negative value will be printed there. Then it goes to the next line break. So it suddenly stops the loop and comes out of the loop. That means from here it directly jumps here. Print out of the loop. It doesn't go back and execute the remaining iteration. We have the iteration from 0 to 9, isn't it? But when it reaches 2, we entered a negative value. So when it executes this break statement, then the iteration will not be continued. That is like I equal to 3, 4, 5 like that. It will not be continued. Suddenly it stops the loop and comes out of the loop and it prints out of the loop. Okay, so that is our break statement. Okay, so actually this program is to enter a value and find the square root. So our next one, it is continue. So here the same program I have written here to find the square root of some random 10 numbers. Okay, so here import math, then for I in range of 10, that is I value from 0 to 9. Then num int input enter a number, that is we are inputting a value. For example, I entered 25. Then it is checking whether 25 less than 0, not satisfying. So it goes to else part and print mag dot square root of num. That means the square root of num is 5. So that will be printed there. Then goes back here. Then the value of I is 1 now. Now it is asking again for the number. So suppose I am entering the number as minus 11. Okay. So it checks minus 11 less than 0. Is it satisfying? Yes, it is satisfying. It prints a message negative number. Then we have the statement continue. Continue, it skips this particular iteration. This won't be executed. It stops this iteration and continue with the next iteration, that is I equal to 2, and it's asks for the next value. Okay, so this iteration will be skipped. Okay, so that is our continue. It is not stopping the loop. It is that particular iteration will be skipped. That is that situation it is avoiding and continuing with the next iteration. So I equal to 2, it is asking the value. So I am entering like 36. So it prints 6. Then I equal to 3. So again we are entering a number as like minus 55. So checking minus 55 less than 0. Is it satisfying? Yes. So it prints negative number and continue. That is when I equal to 3, that iteration won't be continued. It will be executed with next iteration, that is I equal to 4. So here loop executes for 10 times. The value of I is ranging from 0 to 9. So that 10 times the loop is working. But we have two situation, that is two negative values we entered. So that two iterations are skipped. Continue, the loop executes from the first value to the last. Then only it comes out of the loop. But in case of break, whenever that break statement executes, that time itself it comes out of the loop. Okay, so that is the difference between break and continue, and this is a best example to show the difference between break and continue. So that is our break and continue example. So this one we can do with while loop also. Next, actually we have else statement for and while. See, for if condition we are writing else. Same way for and while also we can write else. That is, here the else block appears after the body of the loop. So the statements in the else block will be executed after all iterations are completed. That is, here for I in range of 1, 30 if you are giving. So it is working from 1 to 29. After that it comes out of the loop, then only this else part will be executed. So in some case we need to give like that, that is we are out of the loop, or some programs we need to give a statement like that. This can be written for for loop as well as for while loop. So here the block, the for loop or the while loop, it executes, complete iterations will be executed. After that only this else part will be executed. Then very important, the else part will not be executed if there is any break statement. See, if you are coming out of the loop forcefully by break statement, then this else part won't be executed. Okay, so that is our else statement. So our next concept is nested loop. Here the nested loop is a loop inside another loop is known as nested loop. That is, inside one for loop, if you are writing another for loop, then it is a nested for loop. Same way we can write for while loop also. Inside one while loop, if you are writing another while loop, that is nested while loop. See, inside a for loop we can write while loop also. Same way inside one while loop we can write another for loops. That is also possible. Here actually I have written a code for I in range of 1, 6. That means this is our outer loop and this is our inner loop. So here outer loop, the condition is I is from 1 to 6. That means I is from 1 to 5 including 5. Then it goes inside. See, when I equal to 1, that time it goes inside. It is executing for j in range of 1 comma I plus 1. So here the j value ranges from 1 to I plus 1. That is 1 to I including 1 and I. So here in this case 1 to I plus 1, that is 1 to 1. That means one time this loop will be executed in this case and it prints the star value. So the star will be printed. After that, here it goes to this inner loop only. It is not going to the outer loop. Then I is incremented as 2. So it is not in this range, right? That is the range is 1 comma I plus 1. That means 1 comma 2 here. So it executes when I equal to 2. It comes out of this inner loop and goes to outer loop. So it comes out of inner loop. After that we have a print statement with the same indentation of the inner loop. That is, this for loop and this print statement are under our outer loop. So outer loop for I in range of. So inside that we have two statements actually, for and print. And inside this inner loop we have one statement, that is this print statement to print the star. So when it comes here print, simply if you are giving a print means it is going to the next line. Just to give the next line we are giving this print. So it will be executed, then only it goes back to the outer loop. So the value of I will be 2 here. Then the range is from 2 to 6. That is 6 is not included. 2 to 5. Then it comes to our inner loop, that is for j in range of 1 comma I plus 1. So the j range will be from 1 to I plus 1. So what is the value of I? 2. So 1 to 3. J will be executed for the values 1 and 2. So when j is 1, that time it prints this first star. Then it goes back to the inner loop. That time the value of j is 2. It is in the range. So again it prints the next star. This will be printed. Then the value of j will be 3. Right. So that time it is not in this range. That is 1 comma 3. That is the range is actually 1 to 2. 1 and 2 included. So it comes out of this inner loop and it goes to this print statement. That means the cursor will go to the next line. Then it goes back to our outer loop. Okay, so that time the value of I will be 3. Then 3 to 6. Then again coming inside. So that time j's value is from 1 to I plus 1. That is 3 plus 1. It is 4. So that means j is going to execute from 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So when j is 1, it prints this star, and then j is 2, it prints the second star, and j equal to 3, that time it prints this third star. So this is the way of executing our loops. So if you have any nested loops, so first time it starts with the outer loop and it must complete the inner loop. The inner loop execution should be completed. After that only it comes to the outer loop. Okay. So for entering outer loop is required. Once it enters the inner loop, then inner loop should be completed. After that only it completes the outer loop. So we covered the topics iterative construct, that is for loop, while loop, and the different options of for and while, and the jump statements in this session. So the next topic is the programs using for loop and while loop. So there are so many programs to do with for loop and while loop. So after doing that programs, you will be an expert in for loop and while loop. Okay, so that we are going to do in the next couple of videos. So hope you understood the topic we covered today. So if you have any doubts or suggestions, please feel free to comment. Thank you for watching.